the People's National Movement and Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, His Worship, the Mayor of the City of San Fernando, Alderman Junior Regello, Deputy Political Leaders of the Movement, Mr. Rowan Sinanan, Mrs. Jo Newell-Williams, the Honorable Kelvin Charles, and of course the newly appointed Deputy Political Leader, Mr. Fitzgerald Hines, Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, Senator the Honorable Kazim Hussein, the Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, and the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, the Honorable Faris Alwari, the Member of Parliament for San Fernando East and the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Randall Mitchell, the Distinguished Lady Vice Chairman of the Movement and Member of Parliament for Aruka Maloney, as well as our outstanding Minister of Planning and Development, the Honorable Camille Robinson Regis, officers of the movement, members of Parliament, members of the Cabinet, members of the media, members of our listening and viewing audience, specially invited guests, all our winning candidates, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We are in San Fernando. I said we are in San Fernando. And we are ready for battle. We will win because we are getting it done. We will win because we are building a new society. We will win because Dr. Eric Williams taught us we are not an ordinary party. We are extraordinary. We are winners. As a people, we never get weary yet. We are leaders. And tonight I proclaim on behalf of the PNM that every tongue shall confess that politically the PNM is the best. If you doubt me, just ask Rodney Charles. And we shall devour our political enemies because we are the People's National Movement. We have an exciting program in store for you today, so let me bring welcoming remarks. A cultural icon. He is the first citizen of the city of San Fernando. His service to the city and country is well known, as he is a committed and loyal servant of the people. Welcome to bring opening remarks, the Mayor of the city of San Fernando, Alderman Junior Regello.
We're ready. Yeah, we're ready. We're ready.
Thank you, members. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that very vibrant opening. Permit me to recognize in his absence Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, Member of Parliament for Diego Martin West, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and political leader of the People's National Movement. Deputy Leader of Party and Election Matters, Ms. Jo Newell-Williams. The Honorable Faris Alwari, Member of Parliament for San Fernando West and Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago. The Honorable Randall Mitchell, Member of Parliament for San Fernando East and Member of Master Tourism. The Honorable Camille Robinson Regis, Member of Parliament for Aruka Maloney, Party Lady Vice Chairman and Minister of Public Utilities. Senator the Honorable Kazim Hussein, Minister of Local Government. Members of San Fernando East, San Fernando West, Point up here. And all visiting constituencies, members of parliament, senators, members of the operation team, members of the executive, members of the media, and most importantly, the winning team for 2019. It's my pleasure here this evening to welcome you all to the beautiful city of San Fernando and to my home. Let's begin by giving you a little recap what transpired in this city over the past 5 to 10 years. In 2010, the PNM lost at the polls on 2 occasions, the general election and the local government elections in San Fernando, where we were able to hold on to 2 seats out of the 9. And this is where the restructuring of the party began under the leadership of Dr. Honorable Keith Rowley. By 2013, the PNM took back the San Fernando City Corporation, winning 8 of the 9 seats. And we were led by the then Mayor, Senator the Honorable Kazim Hussein. And by 2016, the PNM won all 9, a feat that was last accomplished in 1995. Well, I would like to tell all and sundry here tonight that the PNM has no intention of relinquishing that stronghold in 2019. We're taking all 9. We have all grown tremendously since 2010, thanks to the guidance and example set by our leaders in government, led by our Honorable Prime Minister. Thanks to the blueprint of leadership that we were able to follow, San Fernando stands at the brink of a new tomorrow. With regards to planning, one of our greatest successes in the city to date is the restructuring of the traffic layout within the main city center. High Street, Mokarapo Street, St. James Street, Lord Street, and Harris Promenade now have a significantly better flow of traffic. One of the main corridors in our city, Harris Promenade, is a central point. It hosts 3 major churches, 3 schools, magistrates' courts, police station, city hall, San Fernando General Hospital, and the teaching hospital. And for those of you who complain about parking in San Fernando, do you remember the purpose of that teaching hospital under Patrick Manning? It was supposed to be a car park. It was supposed to be a library. It was supposed to be an office complex. It was supposed to be a craft market. It was supposed to be a food court. And they didn't understand that and set us back many, many years. With limited funds, this council was able to carry out a major road widening exercise and increase the lanes along Harris Promenade from 2 to 3. We created a drop-off and pick-up zone for schools and additional parking for the police station and a lay-by at the teaching hospital. All done with a paucity of funds, thanks to proper planning, a clear vision, and responsible spending. Over the past 3 years, we have hosted outstanding cultural events, engaged with some of our most brilliant and active secondary and primary schools, as well as NGOs, where we were able to bring to the forefront several meaningful issues and solutions to the public mind and forefront. Currently, we have an ongoing partnership to help the socially displaced through the use of the San Fernando Center for the Socially Displaced, a project that started by the former mayor. And this is in need of those in need of care as we continue with initiatives and partnerships that resonate with our citizens who want to lend a helping hand. The fellow members of council can attest to the countless numbers of donations that flood our office that we redirect to other NGOs in the time of need. I am proud to say that San Fernandians have recognized our efforts and throughout our tenure have consistently given us their support, to which we are eternally grateful. Our achievements have been the physical, mental, and spiritual manifestations of the only political party in Trinidad and Tobago that has carved for itself an identity rooted in the progress of each and every citizen of this republic, regardless of their creed, class, culture, or race. This fact is undeniable, and this party is the People's National Movement. For 63 years, we have represented the people of Trinidad and Tobago with a tenor that was necessary for the growth of our society. The People's National Movement, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, is the only party that has the capacity, mental fortitude, and capability to take this country forward through these financial times. What more proof do we need that the San Fernando waterfront, a long overdue investment in our city of over $1 billion? The multiple agencies involved in the waterfront have been hard work ensuring that this project is being fiscally managed in a responsible manner that will yield success. The long-awaited upgrades to Skinner Park is another example of the careful planning by our administrators in targeting winning initiatives. Skinner Park is one of the major central hubs for the southern region, and its rebirth will again place it on the top as the major sporting facility in the Southland, bringing life and economic activity back to the region. This decision was carefully crafted with a targeted outcome weighed and measured. This model will lead our city to success, to change and growth towards growth. We are following this example that our leader and the Prime Minister has set. Now that we are almost out of these financial doldrums, now that the city of San Fernando has been put on a path towards a better tomorrow, filled with hope and opportunity for all, now is when we need the maturity, sensibility, reasoning, and guidance of the only political party that can ensure a future of social and financial equity. Now more than ever is the time to vote for the People's National Movement. If you want to continue along this road that we have started, that we will take us to a brighter tomorrow, vote for the PNM. If you want to see the San Fernando waterfront that has been a promise to us for so long, vote for the PNM. If you are a believer in actions, speaking louder than words, vote for the PNM. Dr. Eric Williams, our first Prime Minister and father of the PNM, said the best alternative, said it best, the alternative to the PNM is chaos. For our future, your family and our city, the only vote that matters is one for the People's National Movement. So if you live in the electoral district of Marabella West, you're voting for Michael Johnson. If you live in the district of Marabella East, you're voting for Arnold Sugrim. If you live in the electoral district of Marabella South, Vestabella, you're voting for Philip Montano. If you live in the electoral district of Coquet Turuba, you're voting for Teresa Lynch. If you live in the electoral district of Morley-Port Narvet, you're voting for Nigel Courtier. If you live in the electoral district of Pleasantville, you're voting for Robert Paris. If you live in the electoral district of Springfield Paradise, you're voting for Nigam Joseph. If you live in the electoral district of East Supero, you're voting for Riyad Hussein. If you live in the district of Lesser West Narromine, you're voting for Alia Bash. And in the night of December the 2nd, we'll all be here establishing, celebrating and shouting, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
That was your mayor. Show your love one more time. The city of San Fernando is in good hands, and we're taking back all 9. Let me hear you make some noise. From one champion in local government to another, our next speaker is a master of hard work, dedication, and excellence. He has a wealth of experience in local government and is a second-generation politician. He had served previously as a councillor, a mayor, and now a cabinet minister. He is cleaning up the place. Welcome to address us, the Minister of Rural Development and Local Government. He is getting it done. Put your hands together for Senator, the Honorable Kazim Hussein.
Good night, San Fernando. We love you because we care about you. You love the PNM? Say it again. You love the PNM? I love you. You love me? I am PNM. His Worship, the Mayor of the City of San Fernando, Alderman Junior Regralo, political leader of the People's National Movement, Member of Parliament for Digo Martin West, and our distinguished Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, our Lady Vice Chairman of the People's National Movement, Member of Parliament for Aruka Maloney and Minister of Planning and Development, give her a warm welcome, the Honorable Camille Robinson Regis. Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, and our Attorney General, hard-working, the Honorable Faris Alwari. Member of Parliament for San Fernando East and Minister of Tourism, the Honorable, my friend, Randall Mitchell. My fellow cabinet colleagues, I see the Member of Parliament for Muruga Tablan, Mr. Lovell Francis here. Deputy Speaker of the House is here also. Members, other mayors, other chairmen, our special councillors for the San Fernando City Corporation, and give them a hearty welcome. They have been pounding the pavement for the last 8 weeks. Members of the Pnm Executive, Pnm members and supporters, the wonderful people who cannot get room in here, who are on the road and close to the supermarket, 20,000 and counting. You know the UNC can count like that. The Princestown team for the Princestown City Corporation, and ladies and gentlemen, permit me, I am from San Fernando. I was born in San Fernando. I love San Fernando. I work in San Fernando. And I want to acknowledge a San Fernandian, Ms. Joan Yule Williams. To say I love her. She has brought a lot to this party. To all the candidates, 139, and we had the best ever local government convention in the history of this country. When I leave Savannah and I went home, I was on the bed watching through social media, and all I could see is red. Everything red. Everything red. So we read and ready, and we getting the job done. Members of the media, citizens of social media, radio, television, and our viewing and listening public. You all see I walk with a lot of documents, right? Plenty documents. Because they have some members of parliament on the next slide say nothing happening in the country. But I will show them how much happening in the country just now. I have a few minutes, but I will let you all know. Ladies and gentlemen, my Pnm family, as I said before, I was born in this city. It was a borough when I was born. So true. My father was a former mayor of this city, of the borough. He was the last mayor of the borough of San Fernando. And may he rest in peace. And then I came and the party, and I owe it to the party and the political leader, he made me the mayor of the city of San Fernando. The chairman didn't say that I created history because I'm the only father and son in this country to become the mayor of San Fernando. The Pnm has a lot to boast about, but the Pnm is a humble party. Ladies and gentlemen, I was called the other day by somebody and said, I am Mr. Local Government. And I went home and I assessed it. I worked in the San Fernando City Corporation for 40 years. I might look young, but I worked for 40 years there. I worked in every department, almost every department. I work where the rubbish trucks are. I used to check the tools. I work in the personal department. I work in the engineering department. I work as a charger, and I work through all the departments, most of the departments in the corporation. Then, our late Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Patrick Manning, may his soul rest in peace, invited me as a councillor to be on the San Fernando City Corporation. And I passed the screening very easily, and I won the seat handsomely. The seat was held before by my father for about 15 years, and then I took it over for 8 years, and I don't know who was advising my brother, but he is in it now, and he will be there for 3 years. So the mayor has advised my brother. Ladies and gentlemen, and our councillors, I want to say to you that 3 years has passed very fast in politics. And my advice to you is to serve the people with humility, with dignity, with transparency. Be accessible at all times. That is what local government is about. We need your garbage pickup. We need the cemeteries clean. We need the market in a special way. We need the engineering department to be working popular, the municipal police, and I could talk about every department in local government. Ladies and gentlemen, I came with some notes, but my time is very short. I want to, if you give me the time, sir, I want to say specifically that I want to mention tonight our Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance did an excellent job in the budget presentation. Would you agree? Let him hear you in Maraval. He did a marvelous job because when we took over this economy, you all know where it was. You all know the price of gas. And despite everything, with the $2 billion cut across each ministry, we still manage. And the Minister of Finance deserves a real, somebody said you put an engineer to do the job. But I want to let you all know, my leader and your leader put the right person for the right job. Look at the Minister of Planning. Experience. Look at the Attorney General. Experience. My view, he's one of the best Attorney General in the country I've ever seen. And I am not saying that for him to get any votes. It's a fact. Ladies and gentlemen, our Prime Minister had a vision with local government reform. And I want to let you all know, under my watch, under his leadership, under this government, local government reform is coming to pass. We need that in this country. Watch out Tobago. We all see how Tobago is nice and clean and everything good you could say about Tobago. We need that in Trinidad. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing I want to say about the reform is that they are hiding, they don't want the taxes. But we need the taxes because the corporation need to have their own funding. Not so? They need the funding. And the taxes is not going to tax the whole country millions of dollars. We're looking at each corporation by corporation. So this is one thing we need to do. We have local contractors. You don't want a contractor coming from, I want to say it too hard, from Aruka Maloney to come and work in San Fernando. Correct? The contractor from Aruka Maloney must work in that corporation, Tinapuna Corporation. So in San Fernando, we need contractors from within the corporation. From Pleasantville, from Vista Bella, from Monrepo, from Pointe-à-Pied. We need the contractors to work in that area. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a lot to say. My time is limited, but I want to say something to you all. This was the Prime Minister's vision. This was his vision to ensure that there are 100 police municipal officers in 13 corporations and 200 municipal officers in the Port of Spain Corporation. You all know me. I can't talk much, but I could act. And from the time I went into the ministry 3 years ago, and I must say, I want to thank the Honorable Mr. Franklin Khan. I took over from him. He did a wonderful job as the Minister of Local Government. And the template he set was very, very easy for me to follow. Very easy for me. Make him very proud. So we met, imagine we have a whole country and all we had was 207 police officers in 14 corporations. This Prime Minister, with that vision, said he wanted 1,400 officers. You know, I don't waste time. The public service is slow, but I like action. So far, we have enrolled 622 officers in the last year. Is that not an achievement? It is an achievement. And I am guaranteeing you, by the middle of next year, we will have all the municipal corporations and municipal police in all the corporations. Ladies and gentlemen, you probably have noticed, but you have seen the Prime Minister also had a vision, and this man have a real vision, you know, real vision. This Prime Minister is a man that I look as I see as a role model in this country. He wanted street signs, standardized street signs throughout this whole of Trinidad. I have started it. We started in Diego Martin. We went to Siparia. We went to Rio Claro. Rio Claro is a next mess up there. But we went to Rio Claro. We're going to Sandy Grande. And we're going to Arima and then Tunapuna after. So by the end of January, February, the whole country, every street, every trace, every ground, will have a new brand sign. They will be in green. You will see it in some parts of the country, and we are launching it throughout the country. Ladies and gentlemen, they say we're not doing nothing in this country. Imagine that. But we're doing more for less. And you are hearing this phrase, we're doing more for less, right? When I go to the Parliament, in the House of Representatives, there's a particular member of Parliament always attacking me, but he don't know me. He sees me as a quiet person. But just like Mr. Imbert out on the pavement, I'm waiting for him in San Fernando. Ladies and gentlemen, this year, and I could call them out. In Arima, we have drainage. Upper Calvary Road, and I only call in a few, Akbar Ali East. No, let me call out the UNC corporations. They say nothing happening. They only complaining about funding. No money. We can't spend what we don't have. Not so. We can't spend what in your house you can't do that. How you run a government like that? Bring it back. Well, I'll ask the Attorney General to let them bring it back. In the Shogunas Borough Corporation, draining and irrigation. Nothing happening in the country. But in Helen Street, we have box drain. In Penco Street, box drain. Tobago Road, box drain. Phillip Drive, box drain. Bridges. Andrew Street, Box Lane, Henry Street, Box Lane, Princeton Corporation, nothing happening in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, watch out this. 38 projects in one page. And this is the Pnm doing more for less. This is the Pnm. We getting the job done. I really wish I could go through all, but I am not fooling you. I am not fooling myself, and I'm not going to fool the people of this country. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I want to say I have a special place in my heart for my political leader, your political leader, and our political leader. Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, our political leader and Prime Minister, Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, his responsible leadership that has led this country towards moving away from corruption in government. So, let me repeat it. He has taken this country from corruption in government to one of transparency, accountability, value for money, and one which promotes effectiveness and efficiency at all levels. Ladies and gentlemen, our Prime Minister, I sit in the cabinet, I never dream of going there, but I ended up there. And I thank Almighty God, the Prime Minister, and the People's National Movement, and you who have me where I am. The Prime Minister always tells all of us, don't fall in love with office. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, especially the young councillors, don't fall in love with office. This is a temporary office. Use this office to serve the citizens of this country. Do not wait till you leave office to say, I could have done this, and I could have talked to this one, and I could have do this for this one. Everybody can't like you. You are not Almighty God. People will talk to you now and they will be vexed with you from the time you walk away. Don't fall in love with office. I love this man. I love his principles. I have a couple bank accounts, but I have 4 ladies living with me. 4 ladies is my mother, so don't laugh, a wife, and my 2 daughters. I'm a Muslim, but I have 1 wife. So I want to let you all know that my bank account is my money that I save and have in it. No contractor or nobody could offer me anything because I have to account for what I collect on Judgment Day, which is not mine. I have to answer to Almighty God where I got that money from. None of you all will be there. Not even the contractor who was supposed to give it to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a thank you to the People's National Movement. Thanks to everybody here. I want to say to the candidates, I am the campaign coordinator for the San Fernando City Corporation. They have been working very hard. For the last 8 weeks, they're on the ground. They have their offices set up. And I want to congratulate you for offering yourselves as young people in San Fernando and Princestown. And remember what I told you. Always be humble and accessible. When I was a councillor, I used to walk my community every 3 months, you know. Everybody knew me in my community. If I am lying, anybody here could say, you are lying. Nobody inside here could say that. Every 3 months, I used to walk to every house. Even my little baby would know me. So, ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I would like to wish all of us good health and long life. May Almighty God bless and guide our political leader and the People's National Movement, all the hard-working officers of the movement, all of you, the supporters, because I did everything in the campaign. I walked the street. I carried people, senior citizens to vote. I was an area manager. I was every single thing in the PNM. I didn't reach here just by chance. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to say, and I want all of us to say it together, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. And we shall prevail.
Local government is in good hands with our distinguished minister. Show some love for Kazim Hussein. Let me hear you say victory. Say it again, victory. And as we say victory, let me introduce to you quickly our victorious candidates for the Princestown Regional Corporation. Our candidate for Bellarmine Hadbargain, welcome the hard-working Marlon Jaikaran. Cedar Hill Current, Wendy Lipa Gibbs. New Grant Tableland, Martina Lebois Lejeune. Hindustan St. Mary's, Joselle Hamilton. Fifth Company, Nadir Hussain. Moruga, Steve Rudal. Lengua Indian Walk, Hanif Salamat. St. Julian Princestown North, Wendell Neptune. Reform Manahambri, Clarence R. Laland. And Inverness Princestown South, Roger Haku. Show some love for your winning candidates. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is indeed filling big shoes in San Fernando East. A lawyer by profession, he is known for his loyalty to constituency, party, and country. Welcome the pride and joy of San Fernando East, your Member of Parliament and Minister of Tourism, the dynamic, the Honorable Randall Mitchell.
I wouldn't even ask the question like Kazim because I know I love all you more than all you could ever love me. Okay. Let me get this correct the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to recognize the first citizen of the city of San Fernando. He is fastidious, but we love him all the same. His worship, Alderman Junior Regrello. Courageous captain of our ship, our leader, Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. the Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley. My cabinet colleagues at the head table, the Honorable Attorney General, Member of Parliament, your Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, the indomitable Faris Al-Rawi. Member of Parliament for Aruka Maloney, Minister of Planning and Development, and Lady Vice Chairman of the People's National Movement in all her strength and in all her glory, Mrs. Camille Robinson Regis. A true local government practitioner, the hard-working Senator, the Honorable Kazim Hussein, Minister of Rural Development and Local Government. And if you miss him, he's in a tall boot somewhere around the country, cleaning up the country, washing down the streets. Cabinet members seated in the audience here tonight, members of Parliament, and I specifically recognize Member of Parliament for Moruga Tableland, Dr. the Honorable Lovell Francis. members of the San Fernando City Council, Deputy Political Leader of the People's National Movement, a constituent of San Fernando East, Mrs. Jo Newell Williams, Pnm candidates all for our local government elections 2019. The San Fernando East Constituency Executive, are you all inside Skiffle Pan Yard tonight? Supporters, well-wishers, members of the media, citizens in radio and TV land tuned in, a special good evening to you all. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an election in the air. Who are they voting for? That is because we're getting it done. We in San Fernando, we've just completed a march. And we've marched in a sea of red from the Monrepo roundabout, straight here to Coffee Street to Skiffle Pan Yard. And we are only just getting started. We have stamped our authority in San Fernando because San Fernando is Pnm country. Skiffle Pan Yard, you are here in your numbers here tonight. And I don't know, but I think there are more people here than the UNC had on Sunday with a little sprinkling of people in Cuba. And I am seeing the whole of Coffee Street filled. So I don't know if anybody in any yellow motorcade want to come driving past here because this is Separi and this is Faizabad. We are in San Fernando. And Member of Parliament for Aruca Maloney, when you're in San Fernando, and if the UNC wants to come to San Fernando, they better be prepared for plenty tempo. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday was nomination day. And I stand here proud tonight, especially of the 9 standard bearers, 9 candidates for the electoral districts in San Fernando. And I'm proud of all the standard bearers of the People's National Movement, all candidates putting themselves up for election. Those of you nominated, I am sure you will all take us to victory on December the 2nd. But yesterday I had, and permit me please, I'm the Member of Parliament for San Fernando East. Yesterday I had the distinct honor to witness those 4 candidates 4 electoral districts that fall within San Fernando East get nominated. And I could not be more proud. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, we nominated Robert Paris because we recognize over the past 9 years now, because Robert Paris is the most experienced councillor on the San Fernando City recognized his passion and his commitment over the years to the people of Pleasantville. And that is why we nominated him. We nominated Teresa Lynch for the electoral district of Coquille Taruba. Because over the past 3 years, we recognized in that young woman a most courageous woman, willing to serve. We nominated Philip Montano. Philip Montano, over the past 6 years, has gained the respect of all the Burgesses for the dignified way that he relentlessly represents the people of Marabella South, Mr. Bella. And we nominated newcomer, Mr. Nigel Coutier, because we recognized over the past years that Nigel Coutier had developed a great love for the people of Monrepo Navet. So we nominated Nigel Coutier to be your next councillor for the electoral district of Monrepo Navet. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I give that commitment that we will support all you councillors. We will support you on our way to victory as we continue to develop the city of San Fernando and as we continue to develop the place we call Trinidad and Tobago. But there are outgoing councillors. And we recognize, we in San Fernando East recognize that representational politics can be a very thankless job. And you are open to ridicule and odium when you put yourself up for representational politics. But we in the PNM will never be accused of ingratitude. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, allow me, on behalf of the People's National Movement, on behalf of the people of San Fernando East, to thank all our outgoing councillors in the city of San Fernando. I express sincere gratitude for your dedication to service to the people of San Fernando. So thank you, Mrs. Patricia Victor Wilson. Thank you, Ms. Vidya Mangal Bisesa. Thank you, Laverne Smith. And thank you, Mr. Anderson Williams. Ladies and gentlemen, the road we have had to travel as a government since 2015 has not always been easy. In fact, it has been quite challenging. When we entered office, led by the Honorable Prime Minister, we met a crisis situation. Our revenues from oil and gas plummeted from $28 billion in 2014 to just $8 billion in 2016. And this is significant because we had already become accustomed to a lifestyle at revenues at $28 billion. And this sudden drop was as a result of the mismanagement by the previous government of our country's economy, in particular the energy sector. And as the crisis deepened, we had to immediately confront this crisis for the sake of Trinidad and Tobago. And this was a defining moment in the leadership of Dr. Rowley. We had to turn this economy around immediately. We had to make some very difficult decisions. We had to immediately restrain out of control expenditure that were recklessly set by the previous government. And we had to quickly restructure state institutions to eliminate waste and mismanagement to ensure the survival of our economy. And we in San Fernando, we know all too well of the restructuring because a state enterprise, the lifeblood of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, Petrotrin, is very close to our hearts. And we had to turn Petrotrin around and we had to restructure because Petrotrin was simply too important to allow to collapse. And the UNC wants you to believe, want all of Trinidad and Tobago to believe, that Petrotrin was shut down and closed down. And nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, Petrotrin is actually a success story and will be one of the greatest success stories in terms of corporate turnaround in the entire Trinidad and Tobago. And we in San Fernando, we are an understanding people and we are resilient people. And we will support the restructuring and the turning around of Petrotrin. And we have already seen the turnaround from the separation of heritage, the drilling and exploration and production part of our oil economy. But ladies and gentlemen, under the Ministry of Tourism, we have also had to play our part in contributing to the turnaround of the economy. And we have also had to restructure the state's management of the tourism sector under the Ministry of Tourism. The drastic fall in revenues meant that we had to enhance had to tap into alternative sources of revenue. We just had to. And the Ministry of Tourism, the tourism sector, the services sector was identified as one of those sectors where we can tap in to augment the country's revenues, and we had to do it quickly. I really don't want to say the word diversify because diversify is almost like a bad word now. And the UNC will want, if you listen to them, they want you to believe that they are the answer to diversifying this economy. And nothing could be further from the truth because we know them by their past record. Between 2010 and 2015, the UNC, that government, did absolutely nothing to improve or enhance the tourism sector in Trinidad and Tobago. Under the UNC, the TDC, the Tourism Development Company, the TDC and the ministry was spending almost $100 million per year with absolutely no returns and nothing to show for it. They were paying overseas marketers, those people outside who they say they could market Trinidad and Tobago for us because they're close to the source markets. They were paying them tens of thousands of dollars, several of them, in US dollars every single month. And yet, our visitor arrivals were declining. The TDC was broken, no leadership. Every 12 months over the period 2010 to 2015, every 12 months, they were changing the board and changing out the management. They were absolutely broken. And more than that, the TDC had the responsibility to also market our tourism products on the island of Tobago. But the TDC and the THA couldn't get along. The TDC couldn't get along with its stakeholders. And that had fallen apart between the period 2010 to 2015. And as a consequence, we had to take the advice. The best advice that we took was that we simply had to restructure the TDC. We had to restructure the TDC, and therefore, we took the decision to dissolve the TDC and to create in its place two separate companies. One specifically to market Tobago, and one to market Trinidad, because we recognized that they were two separate and distinct products. And in Tobago, now, I can proudly report to you that the Tobago Tourism Agency is leading the resurgence of tourism in Tobago. And all the indicators are pointing upwards. Airlift, arrivals. In fact, the Tobago Tourism Agency had just rebranded, and they had just won 2 international awards and recognition for their rebranding efforts. So, ladies and gentlemen, notwithstanding what the UNC says, we are getting it done, and we are turning around the tourism sector. In Trinidad as well, our unique selling point is business and event tourism. And the Tourism Trinidad Company are quickly partnering with business persons, with sporting bodies to ensure that we maintain a high degree of arrivals here for conferences and exhibitions and meetings, etc. One of our main stakeholders, Caribbean Airlines. You all may not know this, but the Caribbean Airlines is another very powerful and distinct turnaround success of this government. Between the period 2010 and 2015, under the UNC, Caribbean Airlines lost over 500 million US. That is over $3 billion in that period. And it's the same template, same turnaround template. Strong leadership by Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, and today, the board of Caribbean Airlines and the management of Caribbean Airlines have turned that company around, and since 2017, we have been seeing profits in Caribbean Airlines. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting it done. And those are just the areas that I closely interact with and that I have the responsibility for. We are getting it done with the strength of leadership by our Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley. So don't be fooled by UNC propaganda talking about they're working and they're putting on these silly yellow hats and going and taking pictures. We know them by their past deeds. They were here between 2010 and 2015. We know them. They're the same old bunch of bandits. We in the PNM are getting it done. And ladies and gentlemen, we will get it done on December the 2nd. Ladies and gentlemen, vote for your PNM councillor wherever you live. In San Fernando, in Lesotho West, vote for Aliyah Bach. In Lesotho East, vote for Riyad Hussein. In Marabella West, vote for Michael Johnson. In Monreport Navet, vote for Nigel Coutier. And for those councillors seeking renewed mandates, in Springvale Paradise, vote for Nigam Joseph. In Marabella South Vista Bella, vote for Mr. Philip Montano. In Coquillette Aruba, vote for Teresa Lynch. In Pleasantville, let me hear you, vote for your councillor Robert Paris. In Marabella East, vote for Arnold Sugrim. We will continue to reject the UNC. We in the PNM will continue to work to develop the city of San Fernando. And come December 2nd, we will all say, at all cardinal points all over the Trinidad and Tobago, we will all say, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall prevail.
San Fernando! I want you to do me a favor because I'm seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of PNM people here in San Fernando. Put your hands together and make some noise for San Fernando. And I want to tell you that the PNM is going to take the Mayaro Regional Corporation. Make some noise for Mayaro. And let me introduce to you our winning candidates for the Mayaro Regional Corporation very quickly. For Kokal Mafikin, welcome Fitzroy Utley. Mayaro Guayagayari, welcome Wendell C. Perez. For Bish Churuma, welcome Asif Ali. For Ecclesville, welcome Rabindranath Duki. Rio Clara South Cutsville, Mervyn Rodriguez. And Rio Clara North, Richard Rivers. The PNM is going to sweep Mayaro. Make some noise for Mayaro. Victory, victory, victory. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is a party stalwart. She represents the best of the PNM, and she also represents woman power. She is a thorn in the flesh of the UNC. She is hard-hitting and entertaining. Welcome to address us here in San Fernando, the Lady Vice Chairman of the movement, the Member of Parliament for Aruka Maloney, the Minister of Planning and Development. Welcome the hard-hitting, dynamic, the Honorable Camille Robinson Regis.
This is a nation of many races, different faces in many spaces. So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this great nation. Tomorrow has come and the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here we come. Hey, getting it done.
Thank Thank you very kindly, Mr. Chairman. Deputy Political Leader of the People's National Movement, Mrs. Jo Newell-Williams. Attorney General of the Government of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Faris Alwari, and the Member of Parliament for San Fernando West. Member of Parliament for San Fernando East and Minister of Tourism, Mr. Randall Mitchell. Senator the Honorable Kazim Hussain, Minister of Rural Development and Local Government. The first citizen of the city of San Fernando, the first citizen and mayor of San Fernando. I'm not calling your name because you said I was the Minister of Public Utilities. Ladies and gentlemen, officers of the movement, candidates who will be councillors in the next 20 days, the councillors who are before us now and only pretending to be candidates because we know already that they are councillors in the making, because on December 2nd, they will be councillors in each corporation. Members and supporters of the only true political party in Trinidad and Tobago, members of the People's National Movement. Ladies and gentlemen, I really feel Kamla Prasad-Bissessar gone off. You could believe on Sunday, Kamla presenting a manifesto like if it's a general election. Kamla, this is a local government election, and it will be the 8th time that you get licks in Trinidad. Kamla, stop presenting a manifesto for a general election. The general election will come, and it will be the 9th time you will get licks in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine Kamla in 2010. She was like somebody who had a husband, not Kamla. We were like somebody, a woman who had a husband for over 40 years, a good husband. And I saw this on the internet, a good husband. And then you kick out the man and go on with some unknown. He eats you out. He beats you. He drink you out. He take everything you had. And then you're going back with your good husband. And then that wayward one coming back to tell you, I love you. You all think that could ever be possible? Anybody who was here in Trinidad and Tobago between 2010 and 2015 could ever want back Kamla? All right. And let me explain to you that the reason that we who are in government could talk about government issues is because we are defending our stewardship, not only in local government, but our stewardship throughout the last 4 years. So Kamla is a local government election, not a general election. And as usual, you have no real plan. You all could believe, and I want to quote from The Guardian, and I quote, the UNC rally, according to The Guardian report, underwhelming. That's not my words, eh? Hundreds flocked to attend the UNC's local government launch on Sunday at the car park of the UNC's Couva South constituency office at Camden Road, Couva. The crowd was not as massive as in the days of Kamla Mania prior to the 2010 general election, but was considerably different since there was a large gathering of Afro-TNT supporters and Venezuelan nationals donning UNC t-shirts who came out to support candidates from North and South Trinidad. Yelisma del Carmen Matthews and Sanchez Salazar and their children who have difficulty speaking English were donned in UNC colors. You all can believe that? You all remember Kamla was telling us when we were doing the registration that we going to use the Venezuelans to vote. Now, poor Kamla, she can't even get, as sure it wasn't the 16,000 Venezuelans who were there, because they didn't have that many people. She can't even get a crowd. She bringing Venezuelans and putting them in t-shirts. And I'm understanding that because they said, si, senor, si, senora, they were paid pesos. You all can believe that? You all saw the massive crowd we had in the savannah? I want to understand how Kamla sleeps at night. Anyway, you all figure you know how Kamla sleeps at night? She must be counting geese. Kamla, we are used to your lies, half-truths, and innuendos. But I want to make it clear to you tonight that the PNM and the UNC are not the same. And for that, those of us in the PNM are eternally grateful. And I want to thank you, members of the PNM, who ensure that we stay on the straight and narrow. Because try as they might, they can't bring down the PNM. It's 63 years and counting, 46 years in government, and even when we're in opposition, people still look to us for what is right. What is the right thing to be done in Trinidad and Tobago? So Kamla, who's styling herself as mother, as she puts it, mother of the nation, and as Prime Minister, you remember she created the Children's Life Fund? You all remember that that was riddled with corruption? Kamla talking about that. And you remember Kamla told us that they created the Couva Children's Hospital? I want you all to remember that that so-called Children's Hospital is a 230-bed hospital for 150 adults and 80 children. Could that ever be a children's hospital? I want you all to remember that when that hospital was opened, it was a construction site. She opened it a few days before the election. And when we came into office, it was still a construction site. But what has your PNM government done? We have changed that hospital to the Couva Medical and Multi-Training Facility, We are working with the University of the West Indies to ensure that it becomes a training facility. So when on Sunday, Kamla said that it is just a pharmacy, I want to let her know that when that facility was opened, it is now providing services for patient medication and therapy treatment, and it is also providing diagnostic imaging services. Kamla, we making you out, you know. Kamla does just lie as soon as she wake up in the morning and take a drink of coffee. I want to also tell Kamla that apart from Coover, we are building a hospital in Roxborough. We are refurbishing the St. James Medical Complex at a cost of $45 million, and it has been outfitted with the Medical Linear Accelerator. So it is now a state-of-the-art cancer center. We are constructing a brand new modern health center in Diego Martin. We are also constructing the Arima Hospital, the Point Fortin Hospital, and we will be constructing the Sangre Grande Hospital. So Kamla can't talk to us about health care. And they're telling us something about somebody lying on the floor. And the person's family had to come on Facebook and say, it is not true. Y'all could believe that? And she wants to be a prime minister in Trinidad and Tobago again. That will never happen. That and God face Kamla ain't seeing again. I want to take you all to the speech that Kamla made on Sunday. Imagine Kamla talking about education. You all remember, it was Kamla who put children over rum shops. You all remember, it was Kamla who put children in a place where they had asbestos. And she wanted to talk to us about education. Let me remind Kamla that every positive impact with regard to education in Trinidad and Tobago was done under the People's National Movement. And they're talking about that they built 100 schools. Up to now, we can't find those 100 schools. We found a number of schools that had not been completed, and we are now completing them one after the other. We have 27 of those schools that are a priority, and we are completing them. And let me say that they left a number of contractors with unpaid bills, and gradually, with less money, your Pnm government is paying off those contractors. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the contractors who have been extremely patient, because they understand the mess and the morass that we were left in this country when Kamla left us. On Sunday, Kamla mentioned that they built many, many houses. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't find those houses that they built. What we have found is the houses that we built that were left to languish whilst there is over 175,000 people waiting for houses. And you know what they did? Instead of continuing the construction, they decided to increase the ceiling for houses from 25,000 to 45,000 so that areas like Victoria Keys, they could refurbish and their people could get those houses. But when we came back into office, we have restored Trestrail. You all remember that area, Trestrail? There was an area called River Runs Through that is now changed to Carina. We have finished the majority of houses in that area. Eden Gardens and several, Lakeview in Point Fortin, and several of the areas in the San Fernando area, including Corinth. And ladies and gentlemen, Kamala wants to talk to us about housing. I can't understand Kamala. Y'all could understand Kamala? Let me also say that Kamala is saying that when they come back, they're going to make sure that the small man is taken care of. Never happened. Because all they did was make millionaires, and in some cases, billionaires of a few people. But what has your PNM government said? We have indicated that in the housing area in particular, we are going to give small contractors small houses to build, like a starter house for 500,000, so that most people will be able to get those houses. So 5 houses, 10 houses for the small contractor to deal with. And also, we have done the accelerated housing program, where it will continue to generate a consistent flow of new housing units. We also have the aided self-help program and the housing and village improvement program, which is a baby of the Member of Parliament for Moruga and the Member of Parliament for San Fernando West. And that initiative will ensure that families in Sangre Grande, St. Joseph, Moruga, and Marabella get houses. In some instances where they never dreamt that they would have their own home. So Kamala, don't talk to us about housing. I also want to tell Kamala, don't talk to us about the Sea Bridge. Because when we came in, they had virtually mashed up the Sea Bridge and left it to collapse. The Sea Bridge was in such a state that the vessel that was being used had not been sent on dry dock for years. But what did your PNM government do? We dealt with the Sea Bridge situation. We consolidated with the leasing of the Jean de Valette for 1 year, and that boat has joined the Galleon's Passage, the TNT Spirit, and the Cabo Star in the service of the Sea Bridge. Additionally, those vessels have transported 360,734 passengers and 117,524 vehicles over the period January to August. And what we have also done is made sure that 2 new state-of-the-art ferries are being constructed in Australia, the Austral and the Incat. So, ladies and gentlemen, your government is getting it done. What about the air bridge? Caribbean Airlines has been meeting the demand and sometimes oversubscribing. In 2018, the air bridge provided 1,053,910 seats, and usage was 86%. 962,300 seats were used. And in the period January to August, CAL has provided 782,086 seats, and utilization has been in the order of 89%. Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine Kamala talking about reintroducing the Ministry of the People? You know who was the Minister of the People? Glenn Ramadasing. What it is you call him, AG? Rabajaba? All she could be doing that for is for Glenn Ramadasing to harass the people. And she also wants to reintroduce the Ministry of Justice. You all remember what happened under the Ministry of Justice? Section 34. You all remember the state of emergency where over 10,000 young African men were arrested. And let me say that quite a number of them have had to be paid. Am I right, AG? Millions of dollars. So Kamala wants to reintroduce the Ministry of Justice. Kamala has the audacity to say that she created over 50,000 jobs when she was Prime Minister. You all remember in the first year of them coming into office, they fired several thousand people. I don't know where they created these jobs. Was it in life sport? All Kamala did was destabilize this country. That is all she did. And what we are doing now is bringing some sanity back to Trinidad and Tobago. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just give you a reminder. Padarath has been calling Kamala a transformational leader. Is it giving food cards to lawyers, doctors, and policemen transformational? Is it color me orange that makes her transformational? Is it live sport that makes her transformational? Is it box drains overpriced? Is it contracts overpriced? Is it traveling to India and Brazil and other countries and leasing CAL planes transformational? Is having a cabinet of 33 ministers transformational? Is giving $10 million to one man to come to be a minister transformational? And now hearing is 13 million. Is it purchasing a warehouse in Santa Rosa and it being greatly overpriced? Transformation is taking your grandson in a Spider-Man suit to the World Cup. Transformation is flying in a helicopter instead of using your car. Transformational. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you what is a transformational leader. A transformational leader is one who is weaning citizens off the treasury. A transformational leader is one who is ensuring that the OWTU and is happy that the OWTU, through Patriotic, is getting an opportunity to run the refinery. A transformational leader is one who has 23 ministers, thus saving the public purse over $100 million. A transformational leader is one who has gone to the boardrooms of the large oil companies and ensured that the people of Trinidad and Tobago get what they deserve. A transformational leader is one who has a vision for Trinidad and Tobago. And ladies and gentlemen, as I close, I want to remind you that Kamla Persad-Bissessar has consistently supported wrongdoing. And I'm not saying this just off the top of my head. I want to remind you, it was Kamla Persad-Bissessar who started the Dansam Dansuk issue by reading that letter that was not accurate in the parliament, and Eric Williams and Franklin Kahn had to defend themselves. She is a defender of wrongdoing. I remind you about the teacup affair involving our political leader and the member for Digger Martin West, as he then was, with Chandresh Sharma. It was Kamla Persad-Bissessar who was the misleader. Kamla Persad-Bissessar defends wrongdoing. Remember how she supported Vanilla Allen Toppin, who went to the parliament and tried to paint our political leader and his father as rapists. It was Kamla Persad-Bissessar who defended Anil and wants to bring back Anil to give you all live sport too. It was Kamla Persad-Bissessar who had more than one, more than two, more than three, more than 4 cases of sexual harassment under her tenure, and never one day asked for a policy on sexual harassment. She encourages wrongdoing. It was Kamla Persad-Bissessar who, after Glenn Ramadan Singh was fired for an issue of sexual harassment, elevated him to corporation chairman and wants to bring him back as Minister of the People. It was Kamla Persad-Bissessar who, when Chairman Ram was charged with misconduct in public office, left him as a chairman to continue to preside over the corporation. It was Kamla Persad-Bissessar who had to wait and didn't fire Gerald Ramdeen when he and Anand Ramlogan were charged and arrested. It was Kamla Persad-Bissessar who continued without let or hindrance, knowing full well what was taking place with Jack Warner, and did not get rid of him. Ladies and gentlemen, Kamla Persad-Bissessar is a scourge on Trinidad and Tobago. And in this local government election, the candidates that she leads must not see the corridors of power. So on December 2nd, I say to you, Kamla has to pay. She must pay for her incompetence. She must pay for her maladroitness. She must pay for her lackadaisical approach to government. She must pay for her inability to lead by example. She must pay for her slothfulness. She must pay for ensuring that geese run wild in Trinidad and Tobago. She must pay. So, on December 2nd, put your X by the Balize. Put your X by the Balize in every corporation. It is the right party the right leader at the right time. It is only the PNM, whether in general elections or as central government or as local government, that can take this party forward. And let us not forget the THA. It is only the PNM that can say in this country, and we can say it in one accord, that great is this PNM. Great is this PNM. Great is the PNM, and it shall prevail. Thank you, God bless.
Of many races, different faces in many spaces. So when you're voting, know that you're building a strong foundation for this great nation. Tomorrow has come, and the change has begun. Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here we come. Hey, getting it done.
I told you she was hard-hitting. Your lady vice chairman, woman power, show your love one more time for Camille Robinson Regis. If I give her a chance, she'll talk all night. I thought I'd call her Rekka. But I want you to make some noise tonight because I want to introduce you quickly our 9 winning candidates for the San Fernando City Corporation. I want to hear some noise as I welcome Springvale Paradise, the dynamic, hard-working Nigam Joseph, Marabella South Vista Villa, Philip Montano, Pleasantville, the experienced Robert Paris, Kokia Taruba, the dynamic Teresa Lynch, Manripon Navet, the community man, Nigel Cotier, Lesotho East Sepero, Riyad Hussein, Marabella East, I call him Slim, Anal Sugrim, Marabella West, Michael Johnson, and Lesotho West, Laramie, and Leah Bash. San Fernando stays with the PNM. San Fernando is getting it done. Show your love for your winning candidates tonight. Thank you very much. And may I ask the driver of PDS 4196 to attend to your vehicle immediately? PDS 4196. Attend to your vehicle immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make. Our political leader will not be with us tonight. He is down with a serious bout of the flu and accordingly had to cancel all his immediate engagements. He had assured us that he will rejoin the campaign at the first opportunity, and as we love him, we wish him a speedy recovery. I won't let you get away tonight because I want you to make some noise so that he will hear you. Put your hands together for our political leader and Prime Minister. Our final speaker tonight is a legal master. He is responsible for the many successes we have enjoyed in our legislative agenda. He has politics in his DNA, and he is an outstanding servant of the people at both the constituency and national levels. A third-generation politician. Welcome a champion, the Member of Parliament for San Fernando West, the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs. Welcome, welcome, the Honorable Faris Alwari.
Yes, we're moving. Yes, we're moving. Here we come. Hey, getting it done. So let me tell you one thing. It's big bad thing we doing. The right thing that we choosing. We getting it done. Society we shaking. Because what's already welling is up and up we going. We getting it done. Respecting who we serving. Lies is what they're spreading. Every time we beat them, it's country that we choosing. Bread is how we rolling.
What a beautiful San Fernando crowd. Let me hear you again. Oh God, the sea red and beautiful. I'll make the introductions as tight as possible. I recognize, of course, lest I be schooled, first citizen of the city of San Fernando, my brother, my predecessor as a member of parliament, Alderman Junior Regrello. As we gather in Caribbean Airlines Skiffle Pan Yard, the best pan site in Trinidad and Tobago, to celebrate the launch of our San Fernando team, Mayaro team, and Penal team. Princestown, forgive me. I'll tell you why I said Penal in a short while. I recognize the distinguished members who have spoken tonight, members of the head table, my colleagues, my loved members of cabinet that work alongside the Honorable Kazim Hussein, Camille Robinson Regis, Randall Mitchell, Senator Daniel Duque, our chairman tonight. I recognize the deputy political leader whom I call Lady Joan Yule Williams. I recognize the Vice President of the Senate, who has found himself all the way from Tobago and today is sitting in the Senate, welcoming him to San Fernando. Ways could be used anyhow, anytime, Honorable Senator. To the ladies and gentlemen, the warriors of local government, to the three corporations that are on deck tonight, I say to you, 3 Mondays hence, we will go to the polls. 3 Mondays hence, we will ask our nation to wake up, say their prayers, each and every one of us on our knees, collect God into our conscience and thought, and work our way to the polling stations, taking our family members, our friends, our persons in community with sober mind and solid intended purpose to save our nation again. And I'll ask you to bear in mind tonight, as you permit me the opportunity to try and fill in a little bit for our dear political leader, because, ladies and gentlemen, it is not easy to be a political leader of the type that Dr. Rowley is. And permit me to tell you why. I can tell you, as I testify tonight, as many of my colleagues can, Dr. Rowley will be calling you at 12 midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. He doesn't ask what you're doing. The conversation starts as you answer, scampering for the phone on the first ring. You get into the business, and then at 5:30 a.m., the phone rings again. So my phone rings with a picture of Dr. Rowley coming up. A lovely, handsome picture of Dr. Rowley. And as I see that picture, I check my watch, and I realize it's a mere 3 hours later, and Dr. Rowley's on the phone. And I say to him, "Yes, Prime Minister." And he starts about that conversation, and he launches into work again. I think that the concept of sleep is lost on Dr. Rowley. And that is evidenced because at 7:30 you meet him in the office. It goes to pre-meetings. You then find him in cabinet. You find him in all of the board meetings and structured meetings that the office of the Prime Minister arranges. He chairs the Energy Committee, subcommittee. That is a committee which Kamla Prasad-Bissessar chaired for 5 years and 3 months and didn't turn up once for. He presides upon the affairs of government and then starts that cycle again. Election campaign in gear, turning up night after night, day after day, walking in the streets and turning up. Dr. Rowley is a leader that leads by example ladies and gentlemen. And I'd like to say tonight, as we give him a warm San Fernando prayer, Dr. Rowley, we pray for your speedy recovery. We know that with your metabolism, by tomorrow morning, you should have had a significant recovery. And I'm confident we'll still get the call at 5 a.m. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk tonight. Why are we here? What is local government? What does getting it done mean to us? What are the issues? What are the alternatives? Why bother to vote? Why bother to care? Trinidad and Tobago, wake up. We are going through a battle of our lives. And let me tell you the nature of the battle. And let me answer the questions I have rhetorically put. As Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago, I was called by the National Crime Agency of the United Kingdom. I was invited to London at National Crime Agency headquarters, and I met there upon my arrival Attorney General's Office for the State of New York, Combined Attorney Generals for the United States of America, Information Commissioner of the United Kingdom, FBI, Department of Justice, Crown Prosecution Services of the United Kingdom. A room filled with law enforcement and intelligence agencies, all of us sitting around a small built gentleman with pink hair and a nose ring. That gentleman goes by the name Christopher Wiley. That gentleman produced a book published in October this year by Random House. That book published is named, and I can't quite say it lest I be bleeped out on the radio and on television. It's called Mind F***CK, Cambridge Analytica and the Plot to Break America. And that gentleman, in the presence of his attorneys at law, on that occasion and on another occasion when I met him again in England, testified that Trinidad and Tobago was the center stage and birthplace of Cambridge Analytica. What does that mean for us in local government? It means that you must be aware of the campaign that is being run in this country. Because the campaign that is being run by Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the promoter, according to Wiley, insofar as she was head of government, and the UNC government promoted this, Kamla Prasad Bisesa has one mission. That mission is to create doubt. Micro-targeting, stealing your web page information, causing you to get emails and phone calls saying, it's the Prime Minister calling, we want to know about you, and they'll tell you where to get your number, how to get your address. That kind of surveillance in the hands of the UNC then, and still in the hands of the UNC now, is intended to carry out one mission: create doubt. Lie. Pretend to lie. Tell a half-truth. Make it up as you go. It's intended to cause doubt. And in creating doubt, the UNC's rollout of campaign finds us tonight in addressing local government reform. They say to you, Seabridge not working. You just heard the airlift capacity for Caribbean Airlines. Caribbean Airlines went from losing $3 billion under the UNC to earning over $500 million in 1 quarter. They told you Petrotrin shut down. They're supporting workers, OWTU being trampled. Immediately upon the announcement of the preferred bidder being Petrotrin, they run to do pre-action protocol letter. They run to court against the Attorney General to say they want to stop the Petrotrin OWTU matter. They know that local government reform was a plank of development. Randall Mitchell told you about it tonight. Kazim Hussein told you about it tonight. They know that if you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, pay your fair share of property taxes, give your money to the local government bodies, you will have the money on an equal basis to fix your roads, your drains, your schools. What did they do? They ran to the court on property tax. They made sure not a cent in property tax could be calculated, let alone collected. And they ensured that local government was delayed so it couldn't be birthed to give life to a Pnm promise. What did they do further? They said in that cycle of local government reform, Pnm says that they want to give small contractors to move garbage an opportunity coming from local government. So your garbage moves, your streets are cleaned, your building developments look good. What did they do? They ran to court to put an injunction to stop that. They know that crime is an issue in Trinidad and Tobago. Crime is the #1 issue in this country next to the economy. First thing they did when we said Trinidad and Tobago requires a commissioner of police, we went to the parliament, we passed an order, a selection order and a criterion order in the parliament. Whoops! Kamla Prasad Bisesa arrives in the courtroom to say no to the reform. We spent a year trying to get that sorted out. Then came the nomination for a commissioner of police, and the UNC said to this country, no to Gary Griffith. How does this affect local government reform? Why are we here? Why am I telling you and reminding you of these things? Not to blame Kamla, but to tell you, pay attention to what is going on. We say, let us get it done. Tonight, I will tell you what we have got done in certain core areas. I'm warning you that the intention of the UNC is just to cast doubt, to cause you to stay home. But I am confident that you will ignore that. In the same way that I testify here tonight that in my 10 years nearly of frontline politics, I have never seen the grandstand of the Savannah as filled as I saw on Sunday. And that people came out of their own volition to show their support is the same way I expect it on election day. So, why these councillors? Why local government reform? What does it mean? You have already seen the newspapers testify today that Kamla Prasad Bisesa's party will demonstrate that they will pay for people to come. But what have we done that matters to you? What does amending laws have to do with you, the people? What does campaign finance reform have to do with you, the people? Let me give you 3 areas of what getting it done means to you, me, us, in the space of where we are. The fact is that our country can properly demonstrate fact number 1. We were told that the economy was in a great state in 2015. They ran a budget the year before of $62 billion. We came into office We discovered that we had 1 day left of money to run the country. We discovered that we lost 96% of our oil and gas revenue. We discovered that we had to pay $12 billion in payments immediately. We discovered hospital not paid for, offshore patrol vessel not paid for, back pay not paid for, contractor debts not paid for, Petrotrin losing $2 billion a year, Caribbean Airlines lost $3 billion. Coming into that equation, we could have done like Barbados and Jamaica, who took tough decisions. They went to the IMF. We could have taken savage decisions, because economists tell you things. Economists tell you when you're doing the budget, just cut expenditure. The largest aspect of expenditure for a government is salaries and wages. Subsidies in terms of pension, food for underprivileged, medicine, gasoline. When the economists tell you, well, just cut expenditure and balance the budget, when you cut, the question is, who are you cutting? And in cutting our budget down by $12 billion, we had to ensure that everybody stayed employed. And in getting it done, having employment as your number one concern, not going to the IMF, not devaluing your dollar, not dipping into your heritage and stabilization fund in a severe way, paying your back pay, paying for the vessels, paying for the fuel subsidy, buying medicine, we kept employment where it is. And in getting it done, for local government concern, we now have, as a matter of fact, one of the lowest unemployment rates, under 4%, in Trinidad's history. Inflation is under 1%. The job market is now on the upswing. And that, ladies and gentlemen, came about by reduction of waste, mismanagement, and corruption. Because in getting it done, we created a continuation of roadways. Let me ask you a question. Everybody knows the highway to Point 14. Everybody knows that one of the largest contractors in Trinidad and Tobago under the UNC was SIS, otherwise known as MAMU, who collects upward of billions of dollars in contracts, and the day you lose the election, packs up and goes to Panama. Did Junior Sammy do that? Did Kusal do that? Did even people that we have before the courts, certain other contractors, did they pick up and leave this country? Ask yourself why that happened. When the OAS Constructura went bankrupt and we had to save this country in terms of performance, the Prime Minister got it done by cutting up the road packages, tendering it out to local contractors who hire local employees, local equipment, spend their money in Trinidad and Tobago, and in getting that done, it means if you want to have proper roads and proper connections, you have to allow that which has been done to continue. What does the extension of the roadway network mean? Why build a highway to Toko, to Sangre Grande, to Point 14? Because every kilometer or mile of highway that you build, that you construct, not only creates employment in its construction, but it allows the creation of alternate communities. There was a time when getting from Valsain or getting from Curep to Port of Spain was 2 hours long because you had traffic lights. When there's not peak time traffic, it's 7 to 10 minutes. There was a time when movement in this country was constrained by where you live. And in creating the highway network, getting it done and having done it at 1/4 the cost of what the UNC prices were. In saving that money, we created valuable land. Swampland becomes residential land. Land on the side of a highway is open for commercial development, residential development. Every landowner next to a roadway becomes a landowner whose value has been improved. The billions spent on highways equals to billions in value along the highways. The billions saved in better procurement done by this government equals to money that goes to the hospitals, money that goes to pay contractor debts, money that goes to pay for school teachers, money that is paid for subsidy for LPG, for electricity, for water. The UNC does not want you to focus on these things because to us in Trinidad, we don't feel that in our pocket. So sometimes we don't appreciate how the lights are kept on, or how the water keeps flowing, or how our children go to school. Did you know that in Jamaica, a citizen in Jamaica has to pay for primary school education? Do you know in Jamaica that none of the public buildings are air conditioned? Do you know in Jamaica that none of the primary schools and secondary schools are air conditioned? Do you know in Jamaica that tertiary education is not funded the way we have it? It's the same in the rest of the Caribbean. But until we have to pay for that in our pockets, we take it for granted. This government kept the lights on, kept the subsidy in place for LPG, kept employment in position, and that is getting it done. Bet your bottom dollar, if you remove that subsidy, tomorrow morning you'll understand what it costs you for that not to get done. When we talk about the projects in hospitals that Mrs. Robinson Regis read tonight, Point Fortin Hospital, Central Block, St. James, Sangre Grande, Arima, Couva, Diego Martin, 7 hospitals and centers. How many doctors are employed there? Nurses are employed there. Ward attendants are employed there. Cleaners are employed there. How many people get services there? You see, that, ladies and gentlemen, is getting it done without corruption, waste, mismanagement, because we have paid for these things. The Point Fortin Hospital was not paid for. We had to bring that, as the Minister of Health tells you, under a framework agreement to get the loan. The Couva Hospital was not paid for. So the UNC is like a bunch of marauders. They enter a restaurant, they order everything on the menu, they sit down and eat the meal, they spill it on the ground, they tell you they're coming back now, they leave you on the table and they say pay the bill. And that is people to watch Koki Eye. That is of the type that Camille Robinson Regis told you about tonight. I too saw the joke going around. In this case, it was labeled as a woman who treats you bad, leave you, gone, and then the woman come back to ask you again for love. Spend out all your money, sell your car, send away your children. Ladies and gentlemen, hospitals getting it done. Hospitals in San Fernando getting it done are important. In Princestown, in Maruga. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get to one of my pet topics. How do you create a new society? Why should you give the PNM an opportunity to continue to create a new society? When are you going to feel safe in your homes? When will you leave your home, be on the outside, get a phone call from a loved one, and not hear them ask you as the first question, where are you? Second question, are you safe? Third question or statement, come home safely, watch your back, etc. Today we were in the Parliament. Today we were passing legislation for consideration, asking for people who have automatic firearms, weapons of war, grenades, missile launchers, or people who are trafficking in firearms to not have access to bail unless they could tell the court why they should get it in exceptional circumstances. You know the UNC's position on that is? No. They will not support that law. They will not support that law to lock up people found with 9 automatic firearms, 9 machine guns, 8 machine guns, 1 machine gun spraying down a crowd and killing people, children, women, men, indiscriminately. Their answer to that, their issue to that is no. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you in what we have got done, why they don't want it done when it comes to law and order, anti-crime plan. The UNC talks about a crime plan, I have told you before. I understand why. A crime plan is a plan to commit crime. We talk about an anti-crime plan. And our approach to anti-crime is that you must have plant and machinery. In other words, then a place and a thing to work. You must have people inside the place to work. You must have processes such as rules, computers, systems, and then you must have law. And what I can tell you is that we have introduced all of those at once. And in envisaging a new society that feeds local government, imagine having your traffic wardens, your police, your licensing officers in a local San Fernando, Princestown, Mayaro, Moruga, any setting where you can have road traffic offenses be converted to tickets in the mail. Why is that important to you? How is it related to crime and local government? If you can't pay for the crime you're alleged to have done by doing the time, because you can't get to a court to hear the charge, because it takes 10 years to get there, because you don't have a prosecutor, you don't have a judge, you have to pass through a preliminary inquiry, there's no consequence to law and order. And when you know you have 146,000 cases in the magistrate's court every year, and 104,000 of those cases are road traffic cases, what does common sense tell you to do? Not remove them. 43 magistrates in 12 courts looking at 146,000 cases, take out 104,000. 43 magistrates in 12 courts, take away 26,000 preliminary inquiries. 43 magistrates in 12 courts looking at 16,000 matters makes sense. Is that pie in the sky? No. We passed the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act to cause that. We got that done. We digitized all of the motor vehicle and licensing information, cars, licenses. We got that done. We digitized the judiciary. We got that done. We did the traffic management division. We got that done. We got the camera systems up and running. We got that done. We did the training. We got that done. We passed a law called payment into and out of court to allow you to pay online from your bedroom to the judiciary. We got that done. Therefore, whilst Kamala talks to you about bringing back Anil Roberts or bringing back Glenn Ramadas Singh or bringing back a Ministry of Justice, I can tell you they spent $400 billion in 5 years and 3 months and got none of that done. What does that mean to us? Every bit of room that a magistrate has to hear a matter means that a rape trial takes 6 years less. A burglary matter takes 6 years less. An aggravated assault takes 6 years less. Decriminalizing motor vehicle and road traffic makes sense, but it is decriminalizing marijuana that makes plenty sense. And I'll tell you why. The forensics division has told us that if you just stop analyzing plant-like substances under 60 grams, you're going to remove 76% of the workload. Could you imagine the forensics division spending 76% more capacity on a rape kit, on a DNA kit, on ballistics? Kamala, up, run out. Manifesto launch on Sunday. She going to legalize weed. She going to decriminalize it. Kamala, you're 3 years too late. I can tell you tonight as I sat down here, I got the final version of the law that I'll be taking to the cabinet for consideration to bring that law to the parliament subject to cabinet's approval in the month of November. We're not doing that for popular reasons. We're doing that because it means a rape matter moves faster. Because it is insane to lock up small men for small things because they are sometimes framed for it. You cannot put a man on remand for one joint of marijuana next to accused for murder, a gang leader. And in getting it done, ladies and gentlemen, what was most critical for us that matters to local government, that matters to us to getting money, you councillors, you citizens, you burgesses, what matters most to you in local government? Your drain, the overgrown lot with mosquitoes, the vagrant who hiding inside the bushes, the massive pothole in the road, the collapsed house because a drain underneath is causing distress like we have in Navet. The fact that you have vagrancy on the road, the fact that you share your space in untidy conditions, we are rendered impotent, emasculated, because we just don't have the money for local government. And if you were to return money by going after the proceeds of crime, following the money, you will therefore be able to put more money into the citizens' pockets. So let me tell you what we got done in that. First of all, plant and machinery, I told you. People, processes, and law. Those four things must be dealt with at the same time. Whether it is local government reform, whether it is criminal justice reform, whether it is the hospital. In plant and machinery, we ensured, right here in San Fernando, the UNC, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, cancelled the maintenance divisions of the judiciary. They effectively restructured them and caused them to collapse. They said, don't worry, we're going to build a judicial complex. They went out, the record shows it that the Ministry of Justice breached the Central Tenders Board Act and they couldn't launch it. Next thing they did, they said we'll protect the prison. They went and they spent $80 million to build a fence around a prison. They didn't construct the remand repairs. They didn't adjust the prison's environment. They did not build a single court in this country. And today they're asking you what you're doing about it. Let me tell you what we got done. We opened the children's court in two places, in Faizabad and in Port of Spain, with multiple courts sitting in there. The parliament is to be relocated in January to the Red House. The civil court moves from the Hall of Justice. They go to the waterfront where the Red House was located, where the parliament is, and we get 60 new criminal courts. Where are you getting judges from? Well, we went to parliament and we got it done by amending the law. So we moved from 36 judges to 72. We went to the parliament and we moved from 2 masters to 14 with 10 more, so you could case manage. We went to the parliament, we passed the criminal division, Attorney General introduced the criminal proceedings rules. So when you get to court, your matter call in on time, it is ready, your documents filed. It's not 100 people call for 9 o'clock in the morning, lining up like cattle in the court, and your matter never goes on. And when you have that courtroom, you have the people. We went and our cabinet got it done by approving an amendment to legal aid and advice, so you have people to defend you, because most trials don't start because a defense attorney is not ready. If your attorney is not ready, a competent counsel will be appointed for you and your trial starts. Where are you getting a prosecutor from? We'll tell you because we got it done. We opened DPP's office in Tobago. We are to open DPP's office in San Fernando, Gulf City. It's being built out. We are opening the DPP's office in Port of Spain, Park Street. It's being built out. Public defenders are being built out on Stanmore Avenue. All those cabinet approvals, all that expenditure going on right now has been completed and done. But when you get to the environment now, obviously you understand processes. Processes are the rules to make it work. Removing preliminary inquiry so you don't wait 10 years to hear a matter to see if you have a trial. The Piarco Airport inquiry is running now on 20 years on preliminary inquiry. We are in the 20th year in the magistrate's court to see if they have a case to answer in the High Court. In the United States, people jailed, come out, forfeit assets, Trinidad and Tobago received it. I can tell you today, as Attorney General, that in December this year, we will have a civil trial in the United States, if all things are equal, where the government will for the first time be permitted to get repatriation of approximately $36 million from the Piarco Airport inquiry. And I can tell you that my lawyers in the United States tell me for 5 years under the UNC, they never got a stroke of instructions from the Attorney General. We'll get that one done. Stay tuned. The money for local government. The Follow the Money campaign. Taking the profit out of crime in a system where you have courts, you have judges, you have processes. What makes the UNC more panicked and fear in their heart and soul than the thought of taxman, foreign accounts, DPP, money laundering, proceeds of crime? Let me tell you their record. FATCA, which is the foreign account declaration for the United States. You remember how we had to beat the UNC into submission there? They drag it, they went joint select, they say no, they say yes, they say no. Only when the society rebelled against them, they were compelled, understanding that they had to say yes to say yes. Global Forum, which is the other 190 countries in the world, in Europe largely, and their associates. What did the UNC say at the Declaration of Global Forum Foreign Accounts? The answer to that is what? No. When we brought the amendments to amend the Income Tax Act to allow the police to get into bank accounts to get information, what did the UNC say? No. What did we have to do? We had to strip that bill out, take out the 3/5 majority, and pass it with a simple majority. When the gaming legislation came up, because in casinos you can launder money, do you know, ladies and gentlemen, Trinidad and Tobago is the only country in the world, according to the IMF, that does not have a regulated gaming industry. Let me repeat that. We are the only country in the world, according to the IMF, that does not have a regulated gaming industry. We are the only country in Global Forum. 190 countries. We are the only country in that 190 country pack that has not signed up to the Global Forum. What has the UNC said to gaming legislation? No. What have they said to insurance amendments? No. What did they say to property tax to make sure it is transparent? No. What does that mean for us in San Fernando? In San Fernando, we pay 9% of the value of the property for taxes under land and building taxes. Under the property tax, you are supposed to pay 3% of the rental value per year. An average home will pay somewhere between $60 to $140 per month. Under the UNC land and building taxes, you will pay tens of thousands of dollars if you stay at 9% per month. Because it's 9% of the value of the whole property. A $2 million property, 10% is $200,000. You're looking at $190,000 divided by 12. You understand? So, ladies and gentlemen, when we get to the issue of following the money, I want to tell you what we got done. We took a very powerful piece of law to the Parliament. It's called the Civil Asset Forfeiture Unexplained Wealth Law. Accompanying that was the beneficial ownership, tell us who you really own shares are law. Accompanying that is the law to treat with transparency in land ownership, the Registration of Title to Land Act, etc. And I can tell you now that the unexplained wealth order part of the law will transform Trinidad and Tobago. Why? Where does an unemployed gang leader explain his wealth from? Where does a politician living in a mansion earning $12,000 a month explain a $60 million home from? Where does a public servant earning $10,000 a month and having $4 and $5 million bank accounts and large cars and homes explain that wealth from? You see, that applies across the society. And all that we ask people to do is to get sober. Sobriety is not an easy thing. I can tell you that the product of having got that done is evidenced in the tax amnesty. In the tax amnesty, we netted $2.4 billion in 2.5 months, $1.3 billion from the energy sector, and the rest from $1.1 billion from the civil society. Why? Because of Explain Your Wealth. I can tell you that we have reported several matters to the police under Explain Your Wealth, and we expect action in a very short order. I can tell you, you know I am not one to spit in people's faces. Pay attention to the news. I will come quickly now, in the few minutes I have, to tell San Fernando why you need to allow the San Fernando Corporation to continue with all Pnm. For years, we heard of San Fernando having the waterfront. That was labeled all over. The waterfront was coming. You ask anybody what that means, the waterfront was going out by the wharf, filling up some land, and then you'll give that land out and people go build something there. 1.8 hectares of land was reclaimed. That was done without any planning permission. We don't know what that soil looks like. I'll tell you what we got done. Project number 1 in the waterfront was to give to Van Org the contract which they are engaged in right now. If you go, you'll see the contract working. 3.8 hectares of land to be built. Project number 2. Who knows that the wharf had a place called Plaza San Carlos? Who knows that the wharf had Plaza San Carlos? Black Cat Hotel. Railway. When we look at the 4 iconic buildings there, we can tell you what we got done. We have awarded the restoration by cabinet approval to UDCOT, and the Cubans are on site right now. The RFPs have been closed. The awards will happen, and we will get that done by the end of this month. Project number 2 starts. Project number 3, you heard the mayor say that our car park was thrown away, our administrative center. Where are you parking on the waterfront? Where are you parking for the largest hospital in Trinidad and in the Caribbean? That is San Fernando General. Right now you're parking in the mud. Cabinet approved the building of the San Fernando car park at the waterfront. That particular project, RFP closed, sales sealed. We are looking to close that bid, start in December 2019. PTSC, project number 4. Who on God's earth takes 14 acres of prime land on the calmest water in the world, in the Gulf of Paria, and puts buses to be repaired, diesel pumping into the water, and 2 or 3 mechanics? That is what we lived with in San Fernando for decades. Let me tell you what we got done. We took that 14 acres, we vested it in UDCOT, we cleared the PTSC garage. It's gone to OAS Constructura site opposite C3 Mall. I can tell you that the design build suite has been already reduced down to 2 contractors, and the announcement will be made shortly. That was never done before. Nidco Fishing Port. We talk about the wharf. Where do our fisher folk go? Who monitors the people at the wharf? Who sees that contraband and people don't come in at the wharf? Currently, nobody does that effectively. I can tell you that we have awarded the contract for the building of the fishing port at the Hatter's Pan Yard area, and that project has been awarded and will be started this month. What happens there? Fishing location, vessels, gassing, ice facilities, fishing mart. Next project, project number 6, the Ministry of Works site, right opposite the cemetery, Rudal Cemetery. That project has been vested in the HDC. We had awarded it to a Chinese firm to build 231 homes. We got a better pricing structure locally. That project, the RFP for that, will go out in November. In December, a contractor will be put on that site. 231 homes. The boardwalk facility and road widening, expansion of the highway network right around San Fernando, the pure division of the Ministry of Works has already completed their highway network consultation for their CEC clearance, and that pure program starts this year. Skinner Park, gifted in 1926, last renovated by one Errol Mahabir, may God rest his soul. If you pass at Skinner Park right now, it has been demolished. $190 million being spent in San Fernando at that location because we deserve our park. Our park is the equivalent of our cultural center, our sporting center, our youth activity center, and our park is our equivalent of the San Fernando version of the Savannah. That project is already in gear, having started by getting done by planning and facilities. I can tell you the Magistrates Court, that land, cabinet completed and vested that land in the judiciary. The plans are at the cusp of finishing. The award for the Magistrates Court will be done this year. I can tell you that the boardwalk facility, when the road is rewidened at the waterfront, that will allow us to have nighttime entertainment, food, businesses. All of these things, ladies and gentlemen, in a local government context mean jobs. What are we suffering in San Fernando? Underemployment, unemployment. lack of housing, lack of development. Drive along Coffee Street from the Navet Road point, straight down, or Pointe-a-Pierre Road if you want to take it, straight down to Skiffle Pan Yard. It has barely changed, ladies and gentlemen. That is why in getting it done, Carlton Lane is the start. Roy Joseph Extension and Community Center has been awarded already. The Mbakade improvements have been awarded already. In getting it done at the Marabella train line, we have taken people into home ownership for the first time in their lives, ladies and gentlemen, and similarly at Mbakade. So, whilst the UNC may try to tell you that there is no plan or no connection, whether it is in the laws that have been passed and done and operationalized. You remember there was a point in time where they say, anti-gang, 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 what is it going to do? Nobody's telling you on page 7 of the newspaper that 5 alleged gang leaders are in no bail conditions facing anti-gang prosecution. Nobody tells you on page 7 that when Dr. Munilal stood up in the parliament and said Dr. Rowley have an account that he thief money in, nobody said on page 7 that the Financial Investigation Branch cleared Dr. Rowley of that allegation. You see, good news don't sell. The newspapers, as I come to an end, and the UNC sometimes get tied up in a news cycle. Let me ask you this, ladies and gentlemen. You have all seen movies like Braveheart, like Gladiator, inspirational movies, The Last Mohican, Last of the Mohicans. When you see that protagonist rallying the troops, calling them to order, launching the battle cry, when you saw Mel Gibson with the face in blue and white saying, freedom! Was he doing like the UNC? Imagine the UNC on that battlefield telling you, hey, the horse dead. The men in the back starving. That ground looking like it's slippery. Boy, it raining, let we come back the next day. We have no money afterwards. Half the flank sick. 2 men looking like they're dead. The UNC's battle cry, echoed unfortunately by some elements of the media, is to tell you, be afraid, stay home, have no faith, cast doubt. That is why I reminded you of Cambridge Analytica. That is why I will tell you about one thing. It's called astroturfing. Google it. Astroturfing is where you see a campaign being run by somebody who looks like a legitimate person for the cause, but it's really being run by somebody else. It's like taking fake grass or astroturf and putting it down on the concrete and telling it that's real grass. That's like having a trade union leader stand up and tell us in the PNM that we, N-word, we must stay home because the PNM ain't do nothing for you. That, sir, is a man to be called an astroturfer because he is astroturfing for the UNC. And I make no apology in reminding you that Watson Duke is an astroturfer for the UNC. Remember the phrase. Google the phrase. When you see interest groups popping up with media in this election campaign, bet your bottom dollar. You know why some of our issues stay in the media as long as they have? Because when you compare it to the UNC, every Monday morning was a new scandal, sometimes twice a week. The other day they asked us why we're talking about the prison system and how we had failed to understand the concept of grabbers and jammers. That is the equipment in the prisons that grabs a cell phone call or jams an outgoing cell phone call. And we told them quite simply, Minister Hines, in his usual way, corrected them in crosstalk to say, listen, you all never implemented it, but we understand you all know about grabbers and jammers. All they know about Glenn Ramadas Singh. All they know about... I'll stop there. Ladies and gentlemen, be prepared for fake news. PNM don't have bacchanal and scandal. So what they're telling you is, hold on to a supposed sea bridge collapse which does not exist. Tell your Petrotrin can't open again. They used to be supporting the union, but now they're not supporting the union, but now they're really supporting the union. So they bring out the AstroTurfer to tell you, I'm a union man, don't support. Understand the nature of the people you're dealing with. Now, the only way this is going to happen in 3 Mondays' time is if you mobilize your crew. There are jobs on the horizon. Minister Imbert said he's seeing blue skies, we've turned the corner, but he did not have to say there's a journey still to be had. We are walking that journey. It is reasonable, having lost 96% of your revenue, to recover your steps, to make profitable enterprises. Can you imagine a trade union for the first time in this country running a commercial enterprise like Petrotrin? There will be no precedent of that type, certainly in the Caribbean, and hardly any elsewhere. And why will the UNC be mortified of that? Because workers will get, for the first time, their fair share in their employee share ownership programs, and we will see prosperity. So San Fernando, all of our people, all of our corporations, there are good days ahead of us. We have heard facts tonight. We know substance. You understand AstroTurfers. You remember Cambridge Analytica. You understand that there are bandits and thieves at the door waiting to take your patrimony away from you. You must never allow this country to return to the hands of the UNC. And the only way that that will be stamped out is if you vote them out. And I call upon you on December 2nd, as we rise in support of the municipal corporation bodies to be populated by the PNM members, to remember that clarion call of the greatness from which we come, of the greatness which we can acclaim and aspire to, of the greatness which we will achieve. And join me in ending by saying, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we shall and must prevail. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
San Fernando, how you feeling? One night. Say great is the PNM. Say great is the PNM. Say great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. Now let me see a voting finger, everybody. Show me a voting finger. Show me a voting finger, San Fernando. Let's go. PNM. 199. Hey, 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 hey. This one is for the nation, for the children. Yeah. One time. Say, we're getting it done in the fires of hope and prayer. Say, together as one, there is no load we cannot bear. And I see the light at the end of the rainbow. And I see the bright blue skies. Tomorrow has come. country that we choosing. Ready, so we rolling. Pnm, we voting. We doing it right. We getting it. Is anybody here from the Pnm tonight? I can't hear you. Is anybody in San Fernando from the Pnm? Well, sing with me. Say, we getting it done in the fires of hope and prayer. Sing, yeah. Together as one, there is no load we cannot bear. And I see the light at the end of the rainbow. What for the Pnm? I see the bright. Is anybody voting for the Pnm tonight? Show me your voting finger. Hey, put it up in the air. Why? Because they voted on December 2nd. Who you voted for? Everybody come now. Hey, 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 for the Pnm. Hey, hey, for the Pnm. One other night. Who you voting for? Tell me who you voting for. San Fernando. You know what? Dr. Rowley couldn't make it tonight, but I want everybody who's supporting the Pnm right now, show me some positivity, show me some positive vibes, so we will make sure that Dr. Rowley gets better, quick fast. On December 2nd, what you going to do? Who you voted for December 2nd? Hey, say Pnm, 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 Pnm. Say great is the Pnm. December 2nd, keep the fans waving. And I want to sing the party if you know it, right? Let me sing. Here we go. We're getting it done in the fires of hope and prayer. Together as one, there is no load we cannot bear. And I see the light at the end of the rainbow. And I see the bright blue skies. Tomorrow will come, and on December 2nd, who you voting for? If you're voting for the Pnm, put your hands in the air and sing with me. Great is the Pnm, great is the Pnm, great is the Pnm, and we shall always prevail. Thank you very much.
Did we have a wonderful time here this evening? Give yourselves a round of applause. And we are getting it done. Let me remind you, as we go to our homes, that the Pnm bandwagon